Hey, I look kind of spooky. Anyway, we got a bike, one of those, exercise bikes, that we just have sitting in the basement. Let me see if I can kind of show you. Yeah, see, bike and everything. And we hooked it all up. I have a light down here. That's why I look so weird. But we hooked it all up, and it's really cool. And with the quarantine, and well, we're not quarantined, but with the whole coronavirus thing, we're all inside, not out doing stuff as much. So we're getting some exercise. And I discovered that this bike eats through size D batteries. So I thought that I could do something. Well, actually, first I, told my wife and daughter and son, hey, just pedal the bike. You don't need the little readout and everything. And they said, well, yeah, but the readout thing also does extra resistance when you're pedaling. And I was like, so what? So just pedal faster. Like, pedal as fast as you can for an hour. You'll get a good workout. You don't need the resistance. But they want that and everything. Ugh. So I, thought, okay, well, we're going to be getting batteries all the time. So there's got to be some other way. So I thought about it and decided I can get an adapter. As it turns out, there's no place to put an adapter. So I thought about it and said, hey, here's what I can do. So this is just some random adapter. Like every good adult, I have a box of random adapters that don't go to anything anymore that I might need someday. So this is the right adapter. The thing, now I'm going to go over to here, and this is why I have the light so that you guys can see. Kind of zoom in a little bit. So this is the battery compartment, and it takes 4 D-cell batteries. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I thought was, I'm going to use the adapter, and I needed the right adapter. So 4 D-cell batteries. Each D-cell is 1.5 volts. So 1.5, 1.5 plus 1.5 plus 1.5 is 6 volts. So I have an adapter that puts out 6 volts of DC, which we need, direct current. And what I did was I snipped off the, where am I? Here we are. Snipped off the little plug at the end and got the 2 wires and found out which wire is the positive. So here's how the batteries work so that you can do this at home. This here is the negative side of the D cell. The spring is always the negative side. D cell, C cell, double A's, it doesn't matter. So the negative, in the way that the batteries work, is the first battery is negative to positive. If I get up here, maybe I'll, yeah, now there's no shadow. So negative on the battery to positive on the battery to negative on the next battery to positive. And then the positive touches this metal. The metal attaches to this spring here. So this is, again, the negative of this battery to the positive of that same battery. That positive of the battery goes to the negative of battery number 4, and the positive end of the battery goes here. So the first battery, if we count this as 1, the negative is the spring, and it goes doot, 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 to the positive here. So on this adapter, I'm going to put the negative on the spring. Where is it? The negative on the spring of the adapter in the positive wire on the positive end, which is usually just like a little metal button or a little flat with a bump or something. So anyway, so now what I'm going to do is, and then I figured Well, I could solder it in actually, because over here the wires, and they're actually soldered, so I could actually just solder right in. But not everybody has a soldering iron right then, right at their house. So I thought, so how do I get them to stick to the spring? Well, you could use like an alligator clip, but then how do you get it to stick to this flat side where the positive goes? So I thought about it, and piece of a dowel. So it has to be 4.5 to 5 inches. And all I did was I pushed the spring in all the way and measured, and that's what I came up with. So that's easy enough, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the wires in there, and then put the dowels in. And what I did was I tied a little knot in the wire, and I'll show you why in a minute. If you're at all handy, you probably can figure out why I screwed the little, tied the little knot there. So the positive side is right here. Okay, and this has a little hole actually where the positive goes. It's like a bump, but there's a hole in the middle. It's like a little circle bump with a hole in the middle of it, almost like a grommet. So I'm going to actually bend that wire, see that? And stick it into the hole there, and then put this, you know what, I'm going to move the light over here so that I don't make any shadows, or less shadow. Okay, so I'm going to put it through the hole. It didn't go through the hole. It's really dark down here. Oh, good grief. Did it go through? Yes. Okay, went through the hole. Now I'm just gonna kind of hold this in. Just put that against the spring. Squash it right in there. Okay, it doesn't have to be pretty, but it's now in there. And then take this other dowel, and this is the negative end. I'm gonna kind of bend it into like a little hook, like a U shape, and actually wrap it right around that little spring. Stick that right in. Okay, and I made this nice and tight so it really holds it in solid. Okay, now it's in. So now I'm going to plug this in, and the display works. Perfect. So now, just to make everything all nice, I'm going to put the cover on, and what I did was see that? Filed a little notch so that this wire can go through the notch, and the little knot that I tied won't be able to go through the notch. So if anybody accidentally kind of pulls on it a little, so there we are. So it's all nice and solid in there. And now I'm going to get an extension cord because I don't want, I'm going to lift this up now and show you the kind of whole thing. So there it is. Okay, but I don't want this just sort of dangling across like that. So I'm going to get an extension cord and tape this wire down along this and down along the floor, and we will be good to go. So there you go. You can save yourself a whole mess of batteries if you have a adapter lying around, and if you're a responsible adult, you should have an adapter lying around. So, hope this helped you guys. Now the lighting is above me and I look equally creepy. I kind of weird all the time anyway. So, hopefully this helps you out. Rock on.